Today I want to talk about onshore and offshore winds, and the learning outcome for today will be onshore and offshore winds. What is a wind shadow? Considerations for launching and recovery of our dinghy, and the dangers of on and offshore winds for visitors to seaside and sailors. So, simply an onshore wind is a wind that blows onto the shore, and an offshore wind is one that blows from the shore to the sea. So have a look at the diagram below. Onshore wind, the wind blows onto the shore here. Offshore wind blows away from the shore. So there's a few questions here. What is an onshore wind? What is an offshore wind? Well, I've explained it, and the answer is just above. When we go to the beach and we have a look, an onshore wind would tend to have the waves breaking on the beach, and it will look lumpy, and it'll be difficult to get out into the water. An offshore wind will have a smooth sea because the wind is blowing offshore, and it can be quite deceptive because if you go out a little way, the waves will build up, but from where you are on the beach it looks a beautiful day and a flat seas and safe. So when the wind's blowing onshore, it can be tricky to launch our boats because we can't sail directly into the wind, because if we put our boat directly into the wind, the sails are flat, we'll be in what's called the no-go zone. We won't be able to sail into the wind and we'll just blow back ashore. So have a look at the video below and answer the questions on launching into the wind. So just click on this link here, it will come up, and let's have a quick look.
Let's look at launching where the wind is blowing onshore. This is also sometimes called a lee shore. In this situation, when you face the water, you should feel the wind blowing onto your face. And it's also the hardest to launch from, as the wind will always try and blow you back ashore.
So when the wind's blowing towards the shore, it's sometimes called a lee shore. So the wind is blowing from the sea towards the shore. And as we can see with the vessel here, if we point it straight into the wind, sails are flap, you'd go backwards up the beach, which would be quite uncomfortable, especially if there's waves on the beach.
Position your boat on the beach on its trolley with the bow of the boat pointing towards the wind. Rig the sails. Make sure the main sheet is completely slack to allow the boom to flutter in the wind, which keeps the sail loose with no power and stops it from blowing off the trolley accidentally. Also, make sure the kicking strap is slack. Fit the rudder and fit the safety pin. Check all drainage bungs are in place to stop the buoyancy tanks from filling with water as you sail along. Next, introduce the boat to the water, keeping the bow head to wind.
So if we don't have the front or the bow of the boat head to wind, the sails will fill and the boat will fall off the trolley. Also, he said earlier that the string holding the boom here, called the main sheet, needs to be slack. The reason for that is we don't want it to catch the wind and sail and fall off the trolley. So this piece of string, the main sheet, and the piece here that pulls the boom down, the kicking strap, need to be slack. So everything's slack, and pull the boat into the wind. We know the direction that the wind is because the sail flaps in that direction. So we go front or bow first, into the wind, into the water.
This will keep the sails flapping and make manoeuvring easy. Continue walking the boat into the water until it floats off the trolley, and then untie the painter. Park your trolley ashore above any high water mark on the beach. With the crew holding the boat, climb aboard. To help keep you stable, push the centreboard down, but only by a few inches to stop it hitting the bottom when in shallow water. Unfurl the jib if you haven't already done so. Push the rudder down a few inches to allow the tip of the blade to make contact with the water. Grab the tiller and main sheet, and now you're ready to go.
So to launch with the wind blowing onshore or lee shore, there's no substitute. We have to get wet. So here the crew is quite wet, especially if there's waves, you have to go further out. Another possibility is to paddle your boat out, anchor, and then put your sails up and sail away. But normally we put the front of the boat into the wind, pull the sails up, and they'll just show you here we have to come away from the no-go zone and sail away from the beach.
Keep a good look out to make sure your path is clear from other vessels, and pay particular attention to any swimmers or other water users in the immediate area. With the bow of the boat pointing head to wind like this, you'll be in the centre of the no-go zone and unable to sail. To get sailing, ask the crew to push the bow of the boat out of the no-go zone.
So we have to bring the front of the boat or the bow from into the wind across to an angle that we can sail. Obviously we can't come too far, otherwise we'll go sideways back up the beach.
Into a close reach point of sailing, like
So the point we need to do is called a close reach.
this. To understand more about this subject, see our Points of Sailing video. This sailing angle allows you to sail easily from the beach and avoids the possibility of becoming stuck in the no-go zone and being blown back ashore. The crew then climbs aboard. Gently pull in both sails a little bit to get moving, but as the rudder isn't fully down, you should leave the beach slowly. Once adequate depth has been reached, release both sail control sheets to stop the boat and lower the rudder blade fully. Then secure the downhaul rope to keep it in position. Lower the centreboard to suit the close reach point of sailing, pull the sails back in and sail away.
Now, having seen that video, we should be able to answer these questions. First question is, how do you know if it's an onshore wind? There was a couple of clues early on in the video for that. The other one is, what is another term for onshore wind? That's both in the video and in the paragraph above. Why is this the hardest wind to launch from? So why is it difficult to launch from a lee shore or an onshore wind? So why do we launch the boat into the water, front or bow first? So what position does the sail, or position of sail, does the boat need to be to sail off the lee shore? The answer's in the video, and I also narrated it into the video. So pop your answers in here and carry on. That will take you a few minutes. Okay, once you've written those, come back to me. So lee shore or onshore wind landing. So this is coming back to the beach with the wind behind you. Let's have a quick look at the video and we'll go through these questions.
This training video looks at how to recover your boat back to a beach. It follows on from our two-handed beach launching video. To recap, the wind can blow onshore, cross-shore,
So the wind blowing onshore is what we're interested in.
and offshore. Whatever the wind direction, it's vital to approach the beach slowly, controlling your speed by flapping the sails. Keep a lookout for swimmers and other water users. And to finally stop yourself, you should turn the boat deliberately into the no-go zone and the crew steps ashore. To recover the boat onto its trolley, one of you holds the boat in the water whilst the other retrieves the trolley. Then simply float the boat onto the trolley and secure it with the painter like this. Here we're using a round turn and 2 half hitches. See our Know Your Boat and Knots video to see how to tie this. And then pull the boat clear of the water. But be careful of where you step because it could be slippery. Let's first look at returning to a beach where the wind is blowing onshore. You must avoid coming ashore with the wind behind you like this under.
So the wind's directly behind you, and it doesn't matter how much you let the sail out, you can't slow down. So this will end in tears. You'll go fast towards the shore and you'll hit the shore and damage the boat, and it'll all happen very quickly and it'll all be very uncontrolled.
The full sail, as you won't be able to control your speed, and there's a risk you can damage the boat. There are 2 ways of coming ashore when the wind is blowing onto the beach. One way is to lower the mainsail afloat by first adopting the hove to position. See the first sail training video for an explanation of how to do this. With the centreboard half raised, the crew then lowers the mainsail and secures the halyard to the shroud to stop it blowing away.
So what we do is safely stop the boat in hove to position, and we drop the big sail, the main sail, so we're not blown straight up the beach without being able to slow down.
Roll up the mainsail from the head of the sail like this, and when it's done, place the sail in the bottom of the boat to stop it from blowing away. To stop the rudder from hitting the ground, you should raise it, but keep the tip in contact with the water to allow it to still work. With the mainsail secure, the helm then turns the boat back towards the beach and you sail in under jib alone. So
you can see with sailing with this jib alone how we can do this very controlled and it all happens very slowly, and you can control your speed coming in. So this is the best way to do a lee shore landing.
About 10 metres away from the beach, you can fully release the jib sheet and furl the jib like this. The wind will then simply blow you to the shore.
Some boats you can roll up, like they've rolled up here. Other boats you have to take the sail down. So if you take the sail down completely, you can control your speed by putting a little bit of sail up, or just standing up and putting your hands out, and that will give you a little bit more speed, or sitting down. So you now have total control of bringing the boat in with the wind blowing straight onto the beach, a lee shore or onshore wind.
Raise the centreboard fully. Once the water is shallow enough, the crew steps ashore and holds the boat.
If it's windy, it'd be a good idea to step from the other side, because the boat's pushing on you and it might push you over. But so if you get out from the other side of the boat, it won't do that.
Whilst the helm checks the rudder is well clear of the bottom, and then steps ashore and retrieves the trolley. The boat is then recovered onto the trolley, as we've already shown. Alternatively, under full sail, you can approach the beach on a broad reach point of sailing with the rudder and centreboard half raised. Limiting your speed by easing the control sheets, at the last minute, turn the boat back into the no-go zone to...
This is quite a difficult manoeuvre, and it's quite difficult to do this without getting pretty wet. So the more controlled one is the first one that I showed you.
Stop you, and the crew climbs ashore. The sails are then lowered and the boat is recovered onto the trolley exactly as before.
So they're the two methods for a lee shore landing. The first one is a lot more controlled and much better to do, and less chance of hurting yourself or damaging the boat. So we will now watch the video, and we need to have a look and answer these questions in your own words. Why do we want to go ashore in our dinghy slowly? So why do we want to go land our boat from a lee shore? Why do we want to do it slowly? Please answer that in your own words. So the video talks about onshore lee shore landing at about 1 minute 15 seconds into the video. Why don't we want to come into the shore on a lee shore under full sail? Next question, what sail do you drop on the first method? Is it the big sail, the main sail, or is it the small sail, the jib? Have a look at the video and it will show you. So if we're complete beginners, what method of landing on a lee shore do you think would be the safest for a beginner? And pop your answer in that box. The next topic I'll talk about is wind shadows. So when the wind hits an object, it's deflected and it will give us a shadow. So this is quite a simplistic diagram of the wind coming along, hitting a building, going over the top. So what will happen is at the top of the building the wind will accelerate because it's pushed up. At the top side of the building there'll be some curly whirlies of wind here. As we go further on there'll be curly whirlies at the back here, and the wind will carry on around the back of the building. The effect of the wind shadow in a building is for about 10 times the height of the building. So we can get wind shadows from buildings. When we sail in the docks, if the wind isn't straight east or west, we'll get deflection of the wind from the buildings around the docks, and we'll get the wind close going in the opposite direction. This is called a back eddy, going in the opposite direction, and we'll get acceleration of wind around the buildings. And you can also get a wind shadow from another boat. So if you're racing, you can deflect a wind shadow onto the other vessel. So if you click on here, it will give you a video, and that will show you the wind on the water. So you click on that, you have a look, pause this now, and then answer the questions. So from that video, how can I see the stronger wind on the water? So from the video, what shows stronger wind on the water? Pop your answer in this box here. So if there's less wind or wind shadow, what will you see on the water? Pop your answer in there. So if we're sailing at the dock, what problems do you think a wind shadow would be when you're sailing the docks with a squall? So with the wind shadow, you're going to get back eddies, you're going to get accelerations, you're going to get lulls. So what problems will that give you with sailing? So if we go to the seaside, we've got an onshore and offshore wind. I'd like you to watch this video here. This is a RNLI video, and it shows a rescue with someone on an inflatable boat. So they're blown out to sea on an inflatable boat. So have a look at the video. Tell me, is this an onshore or an offshore wind? Okay, so when you're on the beach, have a look at the video. Just pop down there. What are the dangers on the beach, on the seaside? What do you think the dangers would be? So pop that in your own words. So from the video, how can you tell if it's an offshore or an onshore wind? Okay, I hope you've enjoyed the session. I hope you enjoyed this small video from me, and I hope you enjoyed doing this. If you have me on period 8, I'll go through this as a live lesson. If not, we'll go through this, pop the answers, pop it to me, and I'll mark it and send it back to you. I hope you have a good week, and I look forward to seeing you in person. Thanks very much. Out.